Right now, there are 8 billion people living on a rock exactly 8,000 miles wide. But what if, in the blink of an eye, that rock shrank by exactly 50%? No countdown, no astronomical warning. Just a sudden, violent deletion of half our planet's mass and volume. Gravity is instantly cut in half. The atmosphere immediately starts bleeding out into the vacuum of space, and the ground under your feet has nowhere to go but up. If you want to survive the next 10 minutes, you need to understand the physics of what is about to hit you. Welcome to Absolute Limits. Today, we're finding out exactly what happens if the Earth suddenly becomes half its size. The first 60 seconds. The very first thing you'd notice is the weight. If you step on a scale and usually see 180 pounds, you now weigh 90. Taking a normal step forward launches you awkwardly into the air. But don't get used to it, because a fraction of a second later, the ground is going to tear itself apart. When a planet physically shrinks, the outer crust doesn't just neatly fold up. The Earth's shell is suddenly way too big for the mantle underneath. To fit the new, smaller core, the crust has to collapse inward. This triggers a global seismic event that makes the Richter scale completely useless. Tectonic plates slam together at hundreds of miles per hour. Mountain ranges like the Rockies and the Himalayas are thrust upwards by thousands of feet in mere seconds. Entire cities fall into fissures miles deep. Then, the air hits you. With Earth's gravity abruptly halved, our atmosphere is no longer pinned to the surface. It expands violently outward. This decompression triggers global, supersonic windstorms. If you're caught outside, the pressure drop in your lungs mimics an airplane door blowing off at 30,000 feet. The air is violently ripped from your chest. Your eardrums rupture instantly. 60 seconds in, the cities are leveled. The power grid is erased. And the oceans are waking up. The first year. If you somehow survived that initial crush, you were likely locked inside a deep underground nuclear bunker or a pressurized deep-sea submarine, because the surface is now unlivable. Let's talk about the oceans. On normal Earth, extreme gravity pulls millions of tons of water flat against the seabed. But with gravity slashed by 50%, the oceans literally swell. Water naturally wants to expand. Mega tsunamis miles high wash over any land masses that survived the crustal collapse. And it gets worse. Because the atmosphere is drastically thinner, the boiling point of water drops. The surface of the ocean begins to steam, choking the sky with endless, suffocating cloud cover. Meanwhile, up in that thinning atmosphere, thousands of commercial flights were airborne when the event triggered. They fall out of the sky. Airplanes rely strictly on air density to generate lift. When the atmosphere rapidly expands and thins out, there simply aren't enough air molecules pushing up under the wings to keep commercial jets flying. Even with the reduced gravity, the catastrophic loss of air density drags every single plane down. But the most devastating physics problem is happening 238,000 miles away. The Moon is locked in orbit strictly because of Earth's mass. But when Earth loses half of its gravitational pull, it loses its grip. The Moon's orbital velocity is now far too fast for the weaker Earth to reel in. It breaks orbit. It drifts away into the deep solar system. Without the Moon, our ocean tides stop entirely. The Earth's rotation begins wobbling violently on its axis. Seasons become completely unpredictable. Your hometown might be buried under 100 feet of snow one year and turn into a scorched desert the next. Human evolution and the new normal. Let's fast forward 10,000 years. Against all odds, small pockets of humans adapted and rebuilt, but they don't look anything like us. In half gravity, your bones don't need to be as thick to support your weight. Over generations, the human skeleton stretches. The average person now stands over 8 feet tall. But this comes with a massive trade-off. Without fighting a heavy gravitational pull every day, human muscle mass and bone density plummet. If someone from this Earth time-traveled back to our current planet, they would be immediately crushed under their own weight, unable to even stand up. Movement is totally different. You don't walk, you bound. A casual jump easily clears a one-story building. And the wildlife? It's completely supersized. With a fraction of the gravity pulling them down, land animals scale up massively. Trees easily shoot up 1,000 feet, forming gigantic, multi-layered canopy ecosystems. But the absolute rulers of this world are the flyers. Now, you might think a thinner atmosphere would make flying impossible for heavy creatures. And you'd be right. They can't flap heavy wings like modern birds in this thin air. Instead, evolution favors ultra-lightweight glider wings, essentially biological solar sails. These creatures boast wingspans of 40 to 50 feet, but they weigh almost nothing. They don't flap. They ride massive vertical thermal currents rising from the steaming oceans, gliding for hundreds of miles without ever touching the ground. It is a totally alien ecosystem. If the Earth abruptly shrank by half, it wouldn't just be a geographical disaster. It would completely rewrite the laws of physics and biology. The crust shatters. The oceans boil. The moon abandons us. And the life that manages to hold on is forced to mutate into something completely unrecognizable. It's a brutal reminder of just how dialed in our current planet really is. We exist in a highly specific mathematical balance. The gravity, the mass, the atmospheric pressure. It's all tuned exactly right to keep you alive. Change that math even a fraction, and the ride is over. What would you do in those first 60 seconds? Do you think you'd make it to a bunker in time? Let me know in the comments. If you want to keep testing the boundaries of reality, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because next week, we're calculating exactly what happens if the sun simply vanished for 30 days. Stay curious, stay prepared, and remember, there are absolute limits to everything.